Hi everyone. Hope you're doing great. And yeah, we have quite a few important things to discuss. Um, hi Ruth. Hi Jasper, Nick, Sydney. Hi Susan, Delian, Patricia, Shirley, Shan, Phil, Gideon, Colin, Colleen, Philip, Dunn, Wendy, Shona, Susan. Well, we have quite a few people in the stream. Hi, Bev Marlene. Hi, Wim. Hoop het gaan goed daardie kant. Faith. Hi, Faith. Ja, Lee, Claudette, Jaco, Jean, Vivian. I don't want to miss out anyone that's in the stream now. I know it's Magrita, Andre, the horse lady. Hi. And that's such an awesome name to have. Okay, we have over 100 people in the stream now. Please share this link. Remember, this is for everybody. So I want as many people as possible to have access to this information I'm going to give you. I'm going to describe the situation within Eskom now. Now, I did a live stream a while back on Eskom, but there's a new development. I did a video on it earlier, and that video was clearly thwarted at the beginning. I had over 1,000 views when YouTube actually showed that I had none. So the algorithms worked against it. So please go and share that video as well with as many people as you can. It's going towards 6,000 views now. It should have had a lot more than that, considering the importance of what's being discussed. And I was going to speak tonight about freedom of speech, and I will still do a segment on that. This is more important right now. And I want to explain to you, and I'll give you a chance for questions later, the seriousness of the situation that we find ourselves in. Okay. And a lot of people might not understand how serious the situation is that Eskom finds itself in right now. So, this is the nuts and bolts of it. Eskom legally is supposed to shut down 16,000 megawatts worth of generating capacity immediately. Okay? So, what South Africa has done is we went and signed agreements at COP26, which is the United Nations the gathering of all the countries around the world, where they discuss the climate scenario and what they want to do with regards to that. And South Africa agreed to decrease our amount of pollution by a third more than we had said before, and 10 years sooner. The politicians that sign this, they get all excited. I mean, they get wined and dined. They are literally in the moment, and there's euphoria and all the rest. Okay, if you actually see these events and how they happen, you will understand how these politicians that are there to represent us get bamboozled into signing something they have no comprehension of what they're actually doing. Now, because we are part of the United Nations, and because we signed the Agenda 2030, Agenda 21, we are part of all of those plans. Eskom as a parastatal now has to fall in with us. Now, obviously, we can't go and shut down 16,000 megawatts worth of generating capacity. To give you an idea, Eskom has an installed capacity of 48,000 megawatts. 16,000 is 1/3 of that. So if we shut down 1/3, we'll go to stage 10 load shedding immediately. Because of that 16,000 megawatts, 10,000 would have been available at all time to generate power. We will go to stage 10 load shedding. Do you have any idea what that looks like? Instantly. Now, based on this international law, and Eskom, this regulator that has said that Eskom now is cannot get away with these pollution rates, and their appeals have been turned down. A South African regulator means that Eskom now is illegally running 16,000 megawatts worth of electricity supply. Now, they are supposed to shut these units down because any of the units that did not get and you can go and reference my first video earlier today to actually get the details. I'm not going to go into the nuts and bolts. I'm going to explain to you what this means, okay, how serious this is. the units where they got a reprieve has to be shut down by 2030. So you'll see Agenda 2030 playing into this. But the 16,000 megawatts that they are supposed to shut down immediately, they obviously can't. I mean, we cannot afford to just shut these units down. If the politicians that Eskom has now petitioned the Department of Forestry and Fisheries and the Environment, the Department uh, of Minerals and Energy, and then we also have Pravin Gordon's lot. If you look at those departments being approached now, where Eskom's asking for help to say, listen, we need the politicians to sort this out. The politicians went and signed this agreement. Eskom did not. Uh, we are literally going to go to stage 10 load shedding. And these politicians obviously don't grasp the reality of this. And it's going to be interesting to see what the politicians say now. Oh, shucks, we made a mistake. We're going to now contact the international community and say, stuff it. We shouldn't have done what we did. We're going to unsign the documents now. I mean, what are they going to do? They didn't think this through. This is extremely serious. So under the laws that we have created now, based on signing the international agreements, Eskom has to shut down 16,000 megawatts, which will put us into stage 10 load shedding immediately. Now, think about the consequences of that. Now, I don't believe this is going to happen. I believe the politicians are going to have to go back, tail between their legs, and go and beg for forgiveness. Because they were stupid. They didn't think this through properly. And the international community, what they did is they said, we are going to give you funding to change your energy supply. We're going to give you all this funding as long as you comply with what was decided at COP26. Now, that's a complete destabilization deal. We cannot just go and shut those stations down. Now, anyone that wants those stations shut down, it's fine. We can go ahead and do it and then live with the consequences. I can give you those consequences. The grid, as I described in my first live stream on Eskom, needs to be kept stable. The smaller the amount of generators on the grid, the more unstable it becomes. The more unstable it becomes, if you lose a big unit like any of the cubic units, the frequency can drop so low that you can threaten to actually cause a blackout throughout the Eskom grid. If you reach 47.5 hertz, all the generators will separate from the grid, and then it's going to take us weeks and months to start and build the grid back up again. And in that time, untold pain will befall the country that will make the COVID-19 pandemic look like a Sunday school picnic. So this is a severe threat to the country. What I find interesting is that this is being dropped on us now, and what I'll discuss in the members live chat tomorrow night is probably an even worse threat, because Eskom is one thing. People that are self-reliant can survive without Eskom. Okay, you can have gas, you can have candles, you can have many other things, you can burn wood. There's lots of things you can use for energy. It'll destabilize the country, though. Industry will cease to run. And if you think about what will happen over a holiday period, it's going to be interesting. Less electricity is used over the holiday period because many factories shut down. But come January and they all start back up again, what is going to happen then? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. And I'm going to keep you updated on that. Wow, we have 370 people watching now. Thanks for joining on this evening. And I really want to thank the members that will join us tomorrow evening, which is a public holiday. But as I said in the link that I put out earlier, the enemy doesn't sleep. So I can't sleep. I can't rest. We have to keep on fighting. And I need to make people aware of what is actually going on. And we need more people involved in this fight. I actually phoned Jeremy Null earlier, Germ Warfare, spoke to him about the situation in Eskom. And hopefully, many other people like him, Roman Kabanak, whoever else out there, Jared Petso certainly will speak about this, needs to talk. Reino de Beer needs to speak on their platforms about this and give people their perspective. This is a serious situation. Now, this is linked to the climate change agenda, and I'm not going to discuss or debate that. What I am talking about now is the consequences of this and how this will transform from COVID-19 lockdowns into climate change lockdowns, and how it's going to influence our economy in future. And I've said that the plan is to reduce the amount of electricity in the country so that we actually go into smart city systems where less electricity is used, there's less industry, and you are given everything you need. In other words, you are not self-reliant. You are fully reliant on large corporations and government initially. Later, government will fall away completely. Large corporations is dictating to government already. We know this. We can see this. Even with the mandates, it is large corporations that have been driving this. It's not government. They are just the puppets at the end of the strings being pulled. So Eskom is in a serious situation now. And I can tell you that the teams at Eskom would have done anything to speak sense to 3 different ministries. Now, the fact that they've gone to 3 different ministries tells you how desperate they are. Public enterprises, mineral and energy, and then forestry, fisheries, and in the environment. They will try any politicians right now, any ministers, to speak sense so that we can keep these units running. Because this regulator, where do they come from to tell us to just ruin our economy like that? I mean, they can't do it. It can't be done. So I'm not worried that Eskom is just going to shut it down. They will shut those units down if government gives them that instruction and says, listen here, you've warned us. We know that this is bad news. However, we've agreed to this. Do it. Thousands of people are going to be without work. Can you imagine what the unions are going to do? We're going to go to stage 10 load shedding straight away. Can you imagine any politician actually making that kind of call? So the only scenario I can see playing out is them crawling back to the United Nations and saying, we stuffed up. We're a third world nation. We're a developing nation, and we should have never made agreements like this. In the article I covered earlier, it says that we're one of the worst polluters in the world, Eskom. This is not true. If you actually go and look at the worst polluting countries, we are nowhere near in the top 20 or 30 countries with regards to pollution. If you look at per capita and industry, etc., and the fact that we're supplying other countries with electricity, like Botswana and Zimbabwe, you have to consider all of that, and then you will see we're not as bad a polluter. And I'm not making excuses for the pollution coming out of coal-fired power stations. If we had the budget, we should have put the desulfurization in and made sure those units are clean. Eskom's philosophy now is don't put that in. It's going to cost us billions. Instead, spend that money on other forms of power supply. The question is, what will they spend it on? And that is not what I'm debating right now. What I'm discussing is a situation that the government has put Eskom in. And because it's a parastatal, Eskom doesn't really have much of a choice. While we have over 400 people watching, thanks for those of you that have tuned in. If you're not watching the full live stream now, please come and watch it later, share it, like it, so that we can have as many other people seeing this as possible. This is a serious threat to our sovereignty. I'll repeat, this is a serious threat to our sovereignty. And what I'll discuss tomorrow night in my live chat with the members is an even more severe threat to not only our sovereignty, but to the world. And it's like all these things are just piling up at this stage. It's incredible how much pressure is being put on us just before the holiday period. It's incredible how these news narratives come out at this time, just as we want to take a break, just as people want to wind down, as industry shuts down, wham. This is what they throw in our lap, and it's all over the news media. So you will be able to see today many articles covering this and the fact that Eskom legally has to shut down these units right now. The fact that they are still running those units means they are violating laws. They are in violation. Think about that. I'll take some questions now. Okay, Angie, I don't want to focus on Eskom's 20% increase. If you actually look at Eskom's situation, our electricity is extremely cheap compared to many other places in the world. It doesn't have to be that high. There's a lot of mismanagement, etc. and contractors stealing many things, etc. However, if you look at the big scheme of things, Eskom's pricing is still really good and much cheaper than any other form of electricity that you're going to get out there. So anything generated privately is going to cost you more unless you make your own investment. So once again, self-reliance is king. If you can get off the grid and become self-reliant, that is the best thing that you can do. And that is why we have the self-reliance. Thanks, Yushra. Just become as self-reliant as you can. But Eskom is going to remain the cheapest form of electricity or energy in the form of electricity for a very long time. We need to keep the grid stable. We cannot have politicians. We cannot have politicians destroy a parastatal which belongs to us. Now, Eskom has been absolutely attacked in the media, and there's a narrative behind this. Now, I'm not trying to come up for Eskom. I am looking at the reality of the situation, the technical side of the situation. And the media cannot understand that because journalists aren't technical people. They don't understand the technical problems that politicians create. They don't comprehend it at all. This channel was started as Desmond Bernardo because of misrepresentations with regards to Eskom and nuclear in the mainstream media, and I wanted to set it straight. And the one thing that I can say is that the channel is now, I think, 930 odd days old, so almost 3 years old, but Double O Days is heading towards 2 years. So next year, May, Double O Days will be 2 years old, so still a while to go. It's about 1.5 years old, and in that time, Double O Days has achieved 5.3 million views. It's incredible the stats that you have created, and the amount of shares of the videos and the amount of comments that you've made and the amount of likes of the videos and how far you've distributed the information. And I need you to keep on doing that. It's very important that you keep on disseminating the information on the channel because that's all it is. So let me take some questions with regards to the situation we find ourselves in. Okay, you already know that I told you to get your gas supplies sorted out. Okay, make sure that you have a supply of gas for an extended period of time. That is not changing. That's not going to change. I have warned people a long time ago because I know how things are going to add up. I know the end plan. So I can tell you how things need to play out for the global elites to get their plans in place. And once again, tomorrow night in that live chat with the members, the entire chat, I suppose, will be a bombshell. So it's really disconcerting to see how we are being attacked over this period of time when we want to rest. Unga says, yes, we are getting punished for low uptake. Yes, we Zero Micron originated for just that purpose. Very timely for Ramaphosa to get sick. Yeah, there's many things that are very timely. And, you know, anyone that now looks at the big picture, understand the big picture, is starting to connect the dots. And hopefully this channel has helped you to do that. Nkubi says Cyril is an agent. People need to wake up. Nkubi, I actually put out on the Telegram group, the official Telegram group. You can go and join that group. I put out the video link for my video on Cyril Ramaphosa, which now has over 80,000 views. It's the most viewed video on this channel. And that video has grown over time. So it wasn't an instant hit. Or anything like that. Hi, Angie Mack. You've been a member for 4 months working on self-sufficiency, one step at a time. Absolutely, as long as it's just a step at a time. That video on Cyril Ramaphosa encapsulates his situation that he finds himself in today. And as I've said before, he has shown signs of trying to assist us here and there. Like him telling Nedlac that the mandates need to be tested in the Constitutional Court next year. It means that he's given time. But at roadblocks, there's going to be stations that's going to try and convince you to do exactly that. And I'm not going to talk more about that. We want this video to remain. Marlene, guys, please guard your words. We need silence now. It's imperative to receive information. Marlene, absolutely. Remember, the comments in the videos can be used to strike a video, and the channel will be off for another 7 days. and we really don't want that. Yes, Faith Cyril's brother-in-law, Patrice Michepe, was mentioned by Dr. Martin at the Red Bull Expo as being SA's main globalist player. He's a small player in the big picture. He is just a person being used as well. So he generates a lot of income. But there's many other much bigger global players. The fact that the person is rich doesn't mean that you have power. Money does give you a certain amount of power, but the people that really have power in the world don't need money. They can get what they want. They're above sovereignty. They're above any government or any entity that we abide by out there. They don't care about these entities. They run them. They control these entities. Hazel, will the scientific and economic boffins be consulted? I can tell you within Eskom that has happened for sure with regards to what is happening right now. So the Eskom teams have said we can't do this. Okay, so Eskom isn't saying, yes, let's shut down 16,000 megawatts. They are crying for help to the politicians, which is kind of counterintuitive, I would say. Mike is saying this: if OM gets majority and positive change starts, where does the future of power supply lie? Does Eskom still fall or can be revived? Mike, you can absolutely use Eskom still for a long period of time, okay? For as long as possible. So you can put a very simple sustain and run plan in place, and while people become more self-reliant. So it's important that self-reliance is still the main focus, the people that can. And when you do that, you can sustain industry for longer and then turn things around. And communities can become self-sustaining with regards to energy supply. And if you start doing that, Eskom can play a role of sustaining industry. And that is actually why it was built. And I have mentioned extensively in my WOD's members chats that Eskom was built for mines, not for us. Just make one thing clear in your mind. Eskom was not built for you to benefit from it. Eskom was built so that mines and other industries can be built so that you can be a working slave and consume products. That is why Eskom was put there. Susan says, bought the solar oven. So solar in Joburg, only 350 Rand plus delivery charges. Ordered my oven thermometer today. Going to start off by baking bread. We'll keep you updated on the results. Awesome, Susan. I hope you're on the Telegram group for Selfreliance and resources. So there's two WOD's Telegram groups at the moment, the main official one and the Selfreliance and resources group, which is now at, I think, 860 people with an immense amount of information being shared amongst the people there. There's 4 stunning admins in that group, one main admin that's running that group and really keeping it honest. Telegram I found to be a platform that I can't use for intricate information. So the way we're using it now seems to work, and I will create another platform where I will be able to communicate with individuals and where I will be able to vet people before they are actually added to that platform. And they won't be able to just come in from the outside with intelligence help or anything like that. So we have 466 people viewing now. People, please like this video so the algorithms can drive it. It's very important that we get this video and this information out, that people understand the situation that Eskom finds itself in. I said I'm not going to keep you for long, so I'll take a few more questions. As long as you understand that Eskom is supposed to right now shut down 16,000 megawatts, a third of their generation capacity. That, according to law, that's what they're supposed to do. It's insane. It's absolutely crazy that our politicians went and signed an agreement that caused us, that got us into the situation, put Eskom into a situation where they are now breaking law, where before they weren't. And they apply to the regulator so that there can be condemnation or so that they don't get punished for these units. And the regulator, the South African regulator, said no. I still need to find out who the person is there that made those decisions. I haven't done that research. I haven't had the strength or the energy to do that yet. Hazel says, what happened to certain mines seeking government permission to source their own electricity? Many mines have in the past. I know the sugar mill plantations, the paper pulp industry, and so on. They have their own generating plant. Been there for years, and that should continue. The Don says he cannot join the Telegram from the links on. Yeah, maybe the links have expired, but I thought the main channel link will remain there because people have been joining there over a long period of time. People are still joining there. So maybe I just need to put a new link up. I think the link that was put there was indefinite. Who besides the Club of 300? It's not the Club of 300, it's a committee. Call this. Have you seen a trip into the supernatural? What? I don't know exactly what you mean, Francois. You will have to explain it to me in a bit more detail. And Kobe, why are they still after Zuma? If they arrested him, there might be an uprising. Just remember, as I said, the three things to destabilize the country: the Zulu kingdom, of which Zuma is a part, Iscom, and the secession or the exit movement. So those are the three things that will be used to destabilize South Africa. I hope that answers your question. They are going to stop at nothing to destabilize. Okay. Ungers, I'm not sure who actually signed the agreement at COP26. I will have to go and find out. Quite frankly, I'm not actually interested. Elliot, hi. Yes, you can catch up later. Please share with your friends and family. Please, people, like this video so we can get the likes up as much as possible, and then share with your friends and family. Yes, Jeremy has been working on putting out different content. You know what Jeremy's been doing? I had a meeting with him. He's really changed his focus a lot. He's on a fact-finding mission of his own, and it's going to happen in his own time. And I laud him for that. And I might not agree with what many of the people say that he interviews. I haven't had time to watch the videos, but he's willing to put that information out there, and that's a format of his channel. And I think that's awesome. So if I was you, I would go and watch those videos and listen to what everyone is saying, because then you get that information and then you can create your own perspective based on that. I've seen of late that Roman Cabinet has certainly been changing in the way that he's presenting things. Maybe we will meet up in future. But you know, at the end of the day, a person needs to have the big picture. You need to have the global picture. You need to know that there is a global plan, or believe that there's a global plan, not just an elitist plan, but a planned plan to literally create a one world government. If you don't understand that, or if you don't want to do the research to actually get to that point, you won't be able to direct people into what they need to do. And I actually watched for the first time Roman Kabinet's last video. I watched it earlier today. He put out the video for the end of the year, and he said the people should dig their trenches. And it's interesting. I did a video a while back where I said that we are already in the trenches, okay, from a different perspective, and that we need to dig ourselves out and actually be free to run around and do what we want. The perspective he's giving is that we need to dig trenches of safety, which could mean self-reliance and many other things. So different channels, different people will give different perspectives that can all have good meaning and good understanding. So you need to go and find as much information as you can. Now, I might have a lot of information based on my own experience that you won't find elsewhere. But it's still important to hear someone else's perspective, even if it completely disagrees with mine. That is fine. I just don't want that perspective promoted on my platform, if that makes sense. Okay. So please go and gather as much info as you can. Um, Jeremy's channel, just go and look for germ warfare. Dryden, just look for germ warfare. And Kobe, that person you mentioned there, he says, I won't mention this person's name, has been getting less and less views. It's because I believe most of the people on that channel are bots. I don't believe they are real viewers, and that is why the views are low. When you take money to create something like that, then yeah, this channel gets more views than any of those channels. If you look at people like Jeremy and Roman, and soon it'll be Jared Petzer as well, and as well as Liberty Fighters Network, where you will see Rainer de Beer putting out videos. Some of them have gone viral. Then the content that gives an alternative perspective will just climb to the point that people like that become irrelevant. And they've created their own irrelevance. And Kubi, so that man has made himself irrelevant. He has always been irrelevant. When I was in the DA, I had conversations with him. Yeah, I just couldn't continue talking to idiots. Yeah, Jeremy is on Odyssey. He also has his own channel. He has his own website, so you can go to his website. And yes, Faith, I don't even want to mention those people on here. Yes, Jackie, absolutely. Disaster, pushing fear. I don't want that. When you become self-reliant, you won't fear because you are self-reliant. And that is what is important. Certain organizations has to push fear to remain relevant, because all the things that they have said that they were that was gonna happen haven't been happening for decades now. And they've predicted so many times that the Nacht of the Lang Messe is gonna happen and all sorts of twak. And it's not going to, because it was never gonna happen in South Africa. It was gonna happen in Europe. Yeah, Jeremy has got a very active channel on Telegram, so you can look it up there. I'm not exactly sure how you get to it. Yeah. Clinton Morris, don't play chess with pigeons. Clinton, I know exactly what you mean, but just understand one thing. I do what I do. Other people can do what they do. I want people to open their mind and what they see. I'm never going to dictate to people what they must think or what they must believe. This is a channel for information only. Okay. Mama Timbu, did Arthur Fraser apply different law on President Zuma's parole? Because if President Zuma is going back to prison, it means thousands of flooding back because they got same parole board as the president. Mama Timbu, I cannot comment on that. I don't have the specific details. I've remained quiet on that because it is going to cause havoc. Okay, he's launched an appeal, and let's just see what happens. I believe that he himself is not going to want a complete disruption. I think the court is vindictive in the fact that they said that the time he was out of jail does not count as part of his sentence. He would have to add all the time on, and for him to pay the costs, I find very interesting. So it's a very vindictive judgment. You have to read between the lines, but I don't want to. I want to focus on what we are discussing tonight, and that is the Iscom situation. The Jacob Zuma situation is part of the Zulu kingdom being destabilized. Remember, he's a tribal chief. He's not just any person. Make no mistake. Oscar, listen, the information. Oscar says, thank you for all the info that I give. I don't have a choice. For me, I want to explain again. For me to help keep my family safe, I need to give the information to other people so that I hope that they will listen to the information, disseminate the information, and make changes in their lives so that I can make sure that my family is safer, not only in this country, but in the world. That is important to me. Okay. And that is the purpose of this channel. It's a community of people. And I don't think anyone else has been able to create what we have created yet. And I want other people to join what we are doing. I think it's important that they join, become a part of what we are doing, because there's not one person standing on a pedestal crowing like a cock on his own dung heap. There's a lot of people putting in effort in their own lives, and that is really awesome. It's a incredible achievement, and it's important that people realize that individuals can become sovereign in their own lives, that they can remove themselves from a system that has been oppressing them for how long? Over time. And as long as you start, it's important. And just remember, tomorrow night, for the channel members in this chat, and there's many of you, the people with the double O, there's an icon next to their names in green. Those are the channel members. Do tune in at 8 o'clock. It's going to be life changing. What I'm going to be discussing with you. Yeah, I was listening to a live stream that the founder of Ethereum was doing today. And I'll just tell you one thing. He believes that by the end of the year, Ethereum will be at 60,000 US dollars. Now that's in 15 days. Now this could just be clickbait, and obviously someone wanting his investment to grow to something stupid. What these people are saying, many of them across the world, combined with some important events that have played out, I will discuss tomorrow night, together with four of the people of the committee of 300 that we'll discuss, and then many other things. Very, very significant event that went down. And I will break down the significance of that for you. And yeah, this is verified. So this is not something that is hearsay or anything like that. Think of Event 201 for the financial sector. Okay. Those of you that understand what I am saying will know. Unga says a country destroyed by a signature, not a single shot fired. Now it does not make sense. There will be no choice but to revoke everything and live with what remains. I agree, Ungas. That's the only rational thing that I believe is going to happen. Tail between the legs, and the politicians are going to say, sorry, we made a mistake. The horse lady. Yeah, we can all make up our own mind. Thanks so much for that. Yes, Cybertruck Ruth, tomorrow night we're going to talk about that. Okay. Yeah, but it's gone to a new level. There's many things I'll be discussing with you. Okay. Clinton says, I see the German government are claiming people on Telegram threatening officials over COVID measures. They were armed with crossbows. Seriously, I think this is a made-up threat. Nobody is that dumb. Yeah, listen, there's a lot of interesting nonsense out there. Ashraf says, hi, there's what hidden agendas do you believe Ramaphosa and his cronies have in mind to disrupt the current economic system? Ashraf, come in tomorrow night and listen. I see you've got your membership sorted out. You remember again, so tomorrow night, come and listen to what I have to say. Hi, Debbie. Yes, Debs knows what's going on. And tomorrow, I will be seeing Debbie tomorrow. I'll be visiting her. And then I'll be giving you an update. And people, remember, tomorrow night in the members live stream, I'll give you Debbie's bank account details again so that you can assist Debbie. Her medical costs are high. The amount of pills that she's drinking is ridiculous. And yeah, I will update you after I visited Debbie in person. And yeah, but Debbie, spot on. I will explain tomorrow how that might play out, and time frames, because people are going to be worried about many things, but I don't want to talk about or focus on that now. But you need to be concerned and prepare. That's all I can say. Ashraf says strange things is I can only access a member via my laptop, but not via my smartphone. That's possible. It depends on what version of YouTube you've loaded on your smartphone. Okay, some versions won't work. If you've got a lower version of YouTube, it doesn't have the functions that you have on your laptop, for instance. Hi, Derek.
Yeah, Derek, I also understand. I will discuss it tomorrow night. He's a youngster. He is involved in things he has no idea what he's getting himself into. Yeah, I know exactly what the plans are. And remember, I have told you before that this pandemic has just been a scratch. Okay. Hi, Wayne. Welcome as a member. It's just a scratch. What is going to come, just like Prince Charles said, is going to be way worse, and he knows exactly what he's talking about. Okay, so listen to him. When Bill Gates says that XYZ is going to happen, take him seriously. It's not a joke. What I'm going to be discussing tomorrow night is not a joke either. There was another member that I needed to welcome that joined earlier, but that's way higher up. Sorry, but there was someone else that joined as a member. Welcome. So, yes, things are going to become very interesting. And just remember, all these different things are lining up to enable a transition to a one world government. Now, how do you get to a one world government? You need to make sure that countries cannot depend on what they currently have. So they need to depend on large corporations and international monetary funds, etc., to supply the fiat currency, which doesn't exist, so that they can survive. Countries will come begging, their economies can collapse. And when that happens, what you need at the end of the day are the five things you need for survival: water, food, shelter, energy, and something to keep you sane. Outside of the Rothschild financial system, um, those are the only things that matter, have ever mattered in the history of mankind. Nothing else mattered. And the things that keep you sane include love, family, community, and many other things. So we don't need any of this consumer society that we live in. It is nice. As my wife always calls it, the fruit of Babylon is very tasty. You know, that Maserati or Ferrari or your super yacht or whatever on earth you actually plan on buying with your fiat currency off the backs of other people. Ilka, why tomorrow night? Because it's something I want to discuss with the channel members. That's why. Okay. Elise, if you want to become a member, just click on the link below the video. It's just a join button, and then you can become a member. Just follow the prompts. Okay. So we have over 900 channel members at the moment. It's one of the largest channels membership communities in the country. With regards to the type of content I put out, it's certainly the largest, and it's incredible to see what that community is achieving, not only in their own lives, but in the lives of other people around them. And it makes the work that I'm doing possible. So it's really awesome. Okay, there's a lot of people helping here. So, people, once again, wow, we're almost at 500 people watching now. And yeah, it's almost 9 o'clock. But sometimes I think it's better to actually do a live stream at 9 o'clock than it is at 8. So I need to think about that. Edrich, climate lockdowns, they spoke about this in April, May last year already. Absolutely, Edrich. So I said with documentations, hi Gerrit, thanks. Um, I love that Okie Jolling there. He's got a band-aid, broken arm. The computer game is crashed. Shucks. Um, I sit with so much documentation from my father's estate. I don't have much time to work through all of them. The ones I have looked at up until now, I've probably gone through 1/5. I still need to go through the rest. Speak about all of these things lining up. But just based on my experience and the things that I picked up in my life, in the time I spent in counterterrorism intelligence, the time I spent at Kuburg, the time I spent in the Air Force, and the experiences I had there, especially the experiences at Parliament, and the people I interacted with, I have been able to formulate a picture and understand the game plan, the end plan, and together with the information my father personally gave me, I'm not talking about documentation, um, as well as information my wife gave me, her personal experience, it's just put the whole puzzle together. And it's made it easy for me to spell out exactly how the global elite are planning to actually implement what they are doing. And it was laid out like a book, you know. And that is why I could tell you that it was going to happen in that order: Zulu Kingdom, Iscom, secession, Cape exit, or any exit movement for that matter will be used to destabilize. And so when I said that, I don't take a risk because I know it's going to happen like that. Hi, Taryn, welcome as a member. Hopefully, I'll see you tomorrow night. So, if you actually think about it, you know, I'm not fearful of the information I give you because their plans are based on very sound intelligence and psychological advice. And because I understand all of that, I know what methods they will use to get to the end result. And all we can do is guard ourselves and armor ourselves against that. And the only way to do that is for us not to be dependent on government and corporate control. So the plan that we've put together to actually circumnavigate this is spot on. It's not only spot on, it's the only way to sort out this problem. There is no other way. And it's a global threat. It's not the ANC or EFF or DA threat. Yes, those organizations are all bought and a problem. Hi, Simone. Welcome as a member. But those people, okay, in those organizations that are bought with millions of rands, they are the people that are going to control our life. They are controlling our lives already. We are in a political system right now that has caused Iscom to be in the situation that they find themselves in, where politicians can go to an unelected body, the United Nations, that we are a member state of, and sign an agreement that puts Eskom in a situation where they have to shut down a third of their fleet. It's crazy. And what could we do about it? Nothing. Because of the system we find ourselves in. And that is why we need to change the system. It's very important that we have system change, that we have direct elections, that we directly elect our leaders in future, that we change the constitution of the country. And there's many articles I wanted to cover with regards to that. And I mean, if you look at, for instance, one article I wanted to cover, and I will speak about it now. AfriForum's legal bid to challenge the lockdown curfew was struck off the court roll. Why? Hi, Marie de Freitas. Welcome. AfriForum's legal bid to challenge the lockdown curfew was struck off the court roll and said it's not urgent. What did the judge say? They are not going to challenge the United Nations and the World Health Organization. In other words, because we're a member state, whatever the World Health Organization says, because they're a subsidiary of the UN, goes. What the World Health Organization says goes, even on YouTube. So, because they say XYZ is the case, the courts take it as such. The courts will not even challenge those findings. And I will actually read to you what this judge said. I mean, it's absolutely shocking if you actually think about it. What this judge said in this case. So the AfriForum's legal bid to challenge lockdown curfew struck off the court roll. It says here that the court has ruled that AfriForum's bid to challenge the lockdown curfew is not urgent. But besides that, if you actually see what the judge said, that is what's most important. Forum's case does not exist. The urgency is not there because we are still faced with a phenomenal increase and scientists are still analyzing the impact of this virus and the impact of the health system. Okay. And the court agrees to this. And another quote, this is a matter of significant constitutional importance and it has effects on the lives and health of South Africans. AfriForum had ample time to approach the court on this matter to ventilate these issues. Okay. And something else that was said by the judge, the difficulty with this kind of measure is that the curfew may look reasonable for a period of time, but this period of time is different. Okay, this is what AfriForum said, that this time people are going to suffer because of all of this. Here the judge said, I agree that the curfew does have an impact on the income of nightclubs, especially during festive season. However, I believe the question of the curfew is not solely directed to disempower the nightclubs financially. I don't see any reason why this issue has to be dealt with urgently, and it needs to be properly ventilated. There are constitutional issues involved in this matter, the judge said. And this is the problem that we are stuck with. They actually believe that the Constitution is allowing these curfews. And this is what a lot of people don't understand. That the system that we're in is that we need to change the system. And there was an advocate from Gauteng that wrote an article in News 24, a long article, where he specifically speaks about the fact that the Constitution says that the government has a duty to protect our lives. And this is a huge problem. Okay. Wow, there's more members. Welcome, Denise. Welcome, welcome to the channel membership. If you actually look at the problem in our constitution, it says the government has to protect our lives, and this is a problem. The government should not protect our lives. We should protect our lives. The government must facilitate that. The government should give us the freedom to live our lives the way we want to, even if we want to take risks. So what the government has authority to do now is take away our right to take risk that can cause death. And that's insane. Throughout the history of mankind, humans have taken risks. Humans have taken risks and have died because of those risks they've taken. Okay. And some people will say that driving on a certain road where things are quite rough or walking through a certain neighborhood is like a death wish. And there's thousands of people that do that every single day. Now, must they all be taken off those roads? No, they shouldn't. But our constitution allows the government the right, if they decide, and the narrative is right, to do exactly that. But they won't do it for all the other things that's happening in the country. They will do it just for this pandemic. Think about that. Think about that. How they will use what is befitting their plan, the globalist plan, with regards to this. And Colby says there is something that they are doing while we are locked up inside after midnight. Has anyone looked up at the sky after midnight lately? And Colby, thanks for that. I had so many people contact me with regards to that. Yeah, I don't want this video shut down. Ilka says, yep, the seed didn't work. Now the next stage, put your armor on. Absolutely. That's a good way of putting it. Put your armor on. Either your aim is to be free or your aim is to be safe. You can't have both. Absolutely, Gavin. I'm so glad when people understand this. You can either choose to want to be safe and not free. And, every person can decide how they want to balance that in their lives. Absolutely. Life itself is a risk. Absolutely, Al. Very well said. Liberty Fighters Network, Leandri. You can go to Liberty Fighters Network, or you can go to the YouTube channel of Reino de Beer, Reyno de Beer, Reino de Beer, not Neil de Beer, Reino de Beer. And he's the president of Liberty Fighters Network. He's been doing videos on legally the challenges that Liberty Fighters Network will put before the courts. We have to test the courts, okay? Now, it doesn't mean that we will succeed. I don't believe so at all. Because the Constitution is against us. But we will use every avenue that has been given us to test the courts. In other words, show the public that we need to change the system. And once it's been tested and you see there's these flaws, then you will know that we need to change the system. And then you can vote in future, which is the only democratic thing you can do, for a movement or someone that will change the system. And you won't keep things as is, because that's absolutely stupid. What must I be reminded of tomorrow night? Yeah, tomorrow night we can speak about what is on the thumbnail. I really want to thank you all for joining. We've almost been going for an hour. and it's really good to be with all of you again. I'm really glad that so many people joined us. On the 15th, this evening before public holiday. Tomorrow night, I know it is a public holiday, and it's interesting at Kubik Nuclear Power Station, they've put security on alert level 3 because the 16th of December is an interesting date. And the 16th of December, people will be gathered at the Voortrekker Monument to get the 33rd beam shining down on the empty tomb. Actually, what did Murdai call it? Murdai called it an empty altar or an altar. So, yes, the 33rd beam will shine down on the altar at the bottom, and lots of people will be looking over the side, looking at that sunbeam at 12 o'clock shining on the altar, as Gerard Murdai called it. And, I've put everything together for my slideshow in a file. I haven't compiled that yet. I actually want to try and do it at the Voortrekker Monument, but I think they're going to kick me out. So, yeah, I'll probably do that on ground zero. I will see. It's going to be interesting. Okay, see you tomorrow night. Yeah, we don't want to crash the channel, people. So please do be considerate with what you say in the comments. Thanks so much for this evening. Thanks for this chat. I will be having lots more live chats. Please like as much as you can. Share the video so that we can really get it up and for as many people as possible to view this. Let's get it to over 10,000 views. 10,000 people is a lot of people being exposed to this kind of information. And that's important there. We almost have 400 likes now. We have 481 people watching at the moment. And we have 398 likes. Hopefully it'll climb to well over 400. Yes, Selfreliance link. Wow, I can't put it in here directly. The Selfreliance link is in the description below this video. So you'll find it there. It is there. No, not the Selfreliance link. I'm sorry. Go to the main official channel. The link to the Selfreliance channel is in there. So you will find the link to the Selfreliance channel. It's a Selfreliance resources channel. It's a group actually. You will find it in the official WODS channel. And you will find that link in the description below every video, as well as in the first comment below every video. Okay, wow, we've the likes are still climbing. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you to those of you that have joined up as members. See you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. It's going to be one of those humdinger discussions. It's a discussion I hoped I wouldn't have to have this time of year. However, that's unfortunately the way the cookie crumbles, as people say. We can't wait. What happens. Next week, Thursday, is the 23rd. We will have another members live chat on the 30th. We'll have a live chat again. And then on the 6th. So every Thursday evening, I'm not going to stop. I'm not going anywhere. The enemy is not sleeping. I can't sleep. We need to go full speed ahead, Dennis. I love the fact that you mentioned that. I've only member for 6 months. Brain strip moment. Watch a space, not this space. Watch spaces for brain strip. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Hi, Johan. Welcome as a member. See you tomorrow night. So on the Selfreliance channel, people can speak about solar systems and all sorts of things there. So please, full throttle ahead. There's no slowing down. I don't know how to do something like that. Some people have offered us some weekend breakaways. I really want to thank the people that have given us opportunities like that. We certainly need it, but the longest we get a break for is maybe a weekend, if we're lucky. Ilka, you'll find a bomb tomorrow night. Okay. A bombshell. I don't want YouTube to throw off the video because I think we're talking about real bombs. YouTube, we mean bombshells as in very explosive information. This is important to understand. Yeah, Brickmerk. It is Brickmerk tyd. Thanks, Dr. Zain. Thanks for everyone that came and joined us. It's been an hour now. Have a good evening. You'll get your bombshells tomorrow night in the members live chat. Keep well. Bye bye. Marmite streeptyd, yes.